Welcome everybody to the Shaded Pixels podcast, where we break down video games by their pixels and shadings, topic by topic. Oh my god, I did it!
You did it!
I did it!
Yay!
Fifth time's the charm, whatever it is.
Way to go, Steven.
Yeah, I'm your host, Steven. That's it. No, I'm Esteban Sky Cuevas, also known as Stephen Cage, also known as Colorwin, also known as
The fly human being.
Goonie. That was my nickname as a kid.
Gooey?
Goonie.
Oh, Goonie. Oh, okay.
Not because of the movie The Goonies.
Well, that's what I was about to say. So, yeah, dash my dreams.
It's not that about that movie. As a matter of fact, I've never even seen that movie all the way through.
Ah, that is blasphemy.
Shame.
You should go watch it right now.
Okay, bye. I gotta go watch a movie. I'm just kidding. No, actually, I'm more proud of the fact that nickname actually comes from Eddie Murphy's stand-up. You ever seen Eddie Murphy Delirious?
Yeah.
There's a part of his act where he starts talking about his father getting drunk at the barbecue, and he starts making fun of his nephews, specifically the kids, and he's saying that they're all like cave people. And he says that the only thing that they say to each other is they call each other Goonie Goo Goo.
Oh, yeah.
Do
Okay.
you remember that?
Yes, I remember that now.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Like, come up with fish.
Okay.
Like, what the frick is going on?
I remember it's.
I think he takes the fish out of his mouth and he looked at his brother and he says, Goonie Goo Goo.
Yeah, I think Delirious is like the one of the two stand-ups that came to Netflix late, because for a long time Raw was the only one that they had, and now they have both of them. Yeah, that's probably why I don't remember, because I used to watch Raw like all the time because it was the only one that they had on Netflix.
I used to watch Delirious all the time. It's the famous one with him wearing like the red jumpsuit.
Yeah. Because Raw's the one with the purple jumpsuit, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's that one.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's where that comes from. Which is way dirtier than the Goonies. I don't know why that became a nickname for me, a little like 4 or 5 year old kid at the time. It must have been. So yeah, there you go.
Exactly. That is kind of odd.
But I don't care because it's funny. Here's a joke you can tell. This is a complete tangent, but I'm going to roll with it. Here's a joke.
That's what we do.
That you can tell your friends instead of trying to doing my act. A bear and a rabbit go and take a shit in the woods. The bear turns to the rabbit and says, "Excuse me, but do you have a problem with shit sticking to your fur?" And the rabbit says, "No." So the bear wiped his ass with the rabbit.
I've heard that one before. Yes, I've heard that one before. That's a good one. Round of applause.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Okay, well, anyway, I haven't even introduced you guys. I'm Esteban Sky
Cuevas.
Cuevas.
That's right. Nobody knows who I am.
To my left is BJ Brown.
Thank you. Yeah, now hold your applause, please.
AKA Bunny 3000, AKA Benjamin, AKA James Brown. Hey!
There you go. All that and above, and so much more.
And below me is Shawn Richards.
Hey, what up, people?
AKA
Shawn
Little
Michaels. You get his name right. It's Shawn Michaels.
AKA Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid. Which is another nickname. Oh my god, how many nicknames does Shawn Richards have? Heartbreak Kid.
God, I don't know.
Oh, trust me, I'll find out some more.
Okay, well that's what you're gonna be doing for the episode.
We're just gonna be adding one every single podcast.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like podcast 100. It's just gonna be a list of all of my nicknames. Just gonna scroll down.
Yeah.
Don't challenge me, okay? I will figure out how to meet
it. Challenge, brother.
All he's doing is
that's a challenge, brother.
He's taking your first name and then just adding another name at the end. So it could be like Shawn whoever.
That's right.
So many Shawns.
Shawn Cuevas.
That's not how that works. Richards. Now he's Keith Richards.
Oh, see, it's beginning.
He will not die. He will not die. He's actually almost 80 years old, and like a cockroach, he will not die, despite all the drugs that he has done.
Yeah.
Also, he was a pretty good guitarist.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah.
And I think he's actually.
Well, Courtney Love is still alive somehow, so.
Yeah,
it's true. Preserved by all the drugs.
Yeah, probably. Well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we are the Shaded Pixels podcast, and we talk about video games here, not what we've been talking about for the past 8 minutes.
2 minutes. Yeah.
5 minutes, whatever.
That's what we do.
We talk about video games, and specifically on this episode, we're going to be talking about video game soundtracks. Which ones are good, specifically. Our personal favorites, I believe. So, video game music is always a good topic because it's always something that's positive. It's very rare that we start talking about video game music and it turns negative.
Oh, don't challenge. I'm sure we can figure out a way to make it.
I know that every single time I sit down, I always want to pop in that Resident Evil Director's Cut soundtrack. Amazing. It's like...
It's garbage. It's garbage.
It's music to my ears as blood spurts out from my...
Yeah. It's the music to your ears while blood spurts out of every other orifice.
Yes.
Offices.
All the offices.
Oligarchy. So, word association. It's a game as well. It has no soundtrack though. But I think we should just get started. Talk about our favorite video game soundtracks, not the bad ones. We already are off on a bad start talking about Resident Evil Director's Cut. But that's okay. We're gonna rebound. BJ, how about you start us off and talk about a video game soundtrack that you particularly like?
Okay, probably the oldest one on my list, and was probably the very first one that I recognized and loved the music for when I was gaming back in my youth. And this is, of course, only limited by my memory, because there was probably another soundtrack that was better around that time frame. I just don't remember the game. I just probably remember the music. But I say Ninja Gaiden for the NES.
Ooh, okay.
I remember it's very, very hard for me not to see that game and instantly have the music just rush back into my head. And it was one of the very first games that I remember absolutely adoring the cutscene music, not even just the actual level, but the cutscene music. I absolutely loved it. And I would just play that game just so I could get to certain parts of the game and hear the music again. I remember very vividly doing that back in the day.
Game was very revolutionary at its time because I believe that's one of the very first video games to have actual cutscenes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I
don't know if it's the first one, but it's definitely the biggest one to have them first.
One of the more prominent ones to have
definitely
cutscenes in it. Yeah.
If there were video games before that had cutscenes, they were games that were not popular and people didn't take, at least at that time, like immediate notice of. So yeah.
I wish I could like stream the feed of like a sample of the music right into your ear holes right now, but because I've been having problems with my computer, I dare not do it, or else everyone else's computer just go on the fridge right near on blue screen.
That's fine. We would get like 2 notes out and then copyright. Right.
Exactly.
Actually, for Ninja Gaiden, we could probably get away with it.
I think so too. Some of those soundtracks and stuff like that back in the day, they don't particularly care.
If I would have had the forethought of actually like asking you what we were going to be sampling beforehand, I probably could have made that work. But oh well.
Because I actually have them. It's just like I said, if I played it, I wouldn't be certain whether or not any of you guys would actually be able to hear it.
That's true.
I'd be sitting here jamming, and y'all be like, "What is wrong with BJ? What is he doing over there?"
He's getting into it. Like, I don't know what's happening.
What's going on?
Okay, that's a pretty good pick.
Wait, what?
Shawn, how about you next? Why don't you tell us one of your favorite video game soundtracks?
So, as people of the podcast may know, I love some of the trolley picks for my for any type of list that we do. This is
So
no
what, you're a troll?
exception.
That's what you're trying to say? That's what you're trying to tell us? You're a troll?
Kinda. This is no exception, but I have to say, no matter what, I will stand by this as like one of my favorite video game soundtracks of all time. And it's relevant right now with since it has a sequel coming up this fall. Smash Brothers.
Oh.
Like,
isn't it kind of cheating though?
Yeah,
that's why I said. That's why I said.
Hey, which is why he's.
I'm going to defend myself. I'm going to attempt to defend myself.
Yeah, you better.
Not only do you have Smash Brothers having unique remixes of certain songs coming out, one of my favorites is Corneria from Star Fox. It has a magnificent remix of it, not just from Brawl, but also for Wii U. And they're starting to come out with some of the more they're coming out with some music for Ultimate that's coming out in day by day. Mm-hmm. Not only do you have some fantastic remixes, but all the care and forethought that's come into compiling all the greatest hits. It is essentially a greatest hits album for any franchise that's represented, whether it's a Nintendo franchise like Mario, Kirby, Zelda, or a third-party franchise like Mega Man, Pac-Man.
Now that's what I call video game music.
Exactly. And you'll have modern renditions, you'll have old school renditions, and the fact that they have so much in there, like just the ones for Wii U and 3DS.
Yeah.
Music, listen, that is massive, and you can play
that game in particular is crazy, filled with a lot of music.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why I'm thinking, you know what? I have to give that game a shout out.
Cheater.
Yes, it can. Say what you will about it.
Cheater.
Say that it is a cheater. Say that it is.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm not mad. I'm not mad.
But you have to give. But you have to give props to HAL Laboratories for just getting all the music all together, putting it into this game so that you can just spend hours upon hours and upon hours just listening to that soundtrack.
Yeah.
You know, I'll have to second that emotion just because recently I was playing this other game called Toy Soldiers War Chest. And if you guys remember, they had the DLC in it where they have He-Man and G.I. Joe and Starbright and Cobra and Assassin's Creed or whatever in it, right?
I kind of remember the G.I. Joe stuff. I don't remember Assassin's Creed.
Yep, they have Assassin's Creed. I
remember the Assassin's
right over
Creed.
there.
All right.
The one thing I remember while I was playing was that all of the music was not the official licensed music. It was recreations, and they had to change notes and stuff like that. So you were like, hold on, that sound is like, it would start and you'd be like, that sounds familiar, and then it would change and you'd be like, ew, no, this is like a bad cover band trying to do, you know, something that you really, really love. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's an
like
example of music
in the movie.
Yeah, that's like an example of a game just completely missing, you know, how a soundtrack can completely ruin the experience if it's not good music. And that was a prime example of it. You know, trying to do the Smash Brothers kind of deal, use the music that you know from each of the characters, and all of a sudden just butchering it.
Yeah.
Just ugh.
Yeah,
I mean it's a compilation, but it's like, especially with the fourth game, it's like a 8-disc compilation. So I can't get mad at that.
I will.
At the same time though, I am going to now give you another nickname. You are Troll Richards.
We've got another one, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, there's another one.
This is great.
You have to be Troll Richards.
This is great.
And when BJ, when you start getting all uppity and everything like that, I think now you're gonna be Indignant Brown.
Same word. I like it. Indignant Johnson. Indignant Jackson. One of the Jackson boys.
All right. Not a bad pick. Kind of a trolley pick, but it's still good. I guess it's my turn.
Yeah. Nope, it's my turn again. So sorry, go ahead.
I guess I'll mention first the first video game soundtrack that I actually got. Now, this is sort of cheating just because I didn't get it myself. It just kind of came with the game without me realizing it. But
it still works.
But it still works in that, I mean, like, I actually had the CD for it. And as a matter of fact, now that I think about it, I still have the CD.
I
still have the CD. Hang on a minute. I'll be right back. Fill for time.
What a nerd! Oh, sorry.
If to fill in for time, I do think it's great that like you still have CDs coming out. Or that it's just like, oh hey, let's just pop a CD, and it's just like, what are you back in 2004?
I still like CDs, and I actually still buy vinyl. So screw you.
I love vinyl. It's been a long time since I've had a table, though. It's really long time.
That's actually part of the reason why I don't buy as much CDs and vinyl as I used to, because currently my turntable sucks, and I actually don't have a CD player anymore because it broke recently.
Nice.
But I have to get the other ones. But this is what I was talking about.
Killer Instinct.
Killer Instinct's Killer Cuts.
Killer Cuts.
That's what the soundtrack is called, Killer Cuts. And it has the songs from the game, but they were like redone so that they were like actually full length kind of like songs.
Yeah.
That weren't just kind of like repeated like the way that they would be inside the game.
Right, just infinite loop of 2-minute songs.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah. But it is fantastic.
Reimagined and remastered.
It is fantastic. I used to pump this thing all the frickin' time. I didn't even try to get it because I just went to Best Buy to get a copy of Killer Instinct, and it just came with it. That's why, like, oh, I didn't even expect this. And actually,
so now is that the Killer Instinct recent or the old school Killer Instinct?
Old school.
Because that looks recent.
Okay.
No. This is the old school one for the Super Nintendo in the arcade.
Yeah, because now I think about it, I don't think you can get the new one on disc, right? They pretty much only do that.
No, you can get it on disc. You can get it on disc, but it has. You might as well get it digital.
I don't know,
because it's like free, isn't it?
I mean, you can go on Spotify and listen to it.
I think.
You can go on Spotify and listen to anything. Yeah, I'm talking about just the game itself. I was trying to remember whether or not you could get.
It's like free to start, but you have to get like an expansion to get all the characters.
Yeah.
It's
the League of Legends approach. You download the game for free, and then you get one character that you can play as, and that character keeps on revolving depending on the week.
Unless you buy them. Switch.
Right.
Or if you're like me and have Xbox Live Gold, they gave seasons 1 and 2 for free. So I have a decent amount of characters. The only season I don't have is the last one.
So you have the super free version.
Yeah. Yeah, because I just waited. Yeah. Until they're like, no one's buying it anymore here. You can just have it.
I just give it to them.
But anyway, yeah, so this is the soundtrack. The soundtrack for the Super Nintendo version, technically. But again, it's all remixed, so technically it's neither version because they're all new.
Does they have like a moderator come on and go, Killer Cuts?
There is an announcer for the 8th track, which is essentially the main theme with the character selection screen built in at the end. I think they have the announcer say something in there.
So he pops in and says something from like the game trailer that comes on every time the arcade game would come up.
One thing that's funny too
arcade trailer.
This is actually one of the first like pieces of music I ever got myself, technically. I had a couple of cassettes because it was the 90s, so yeah, cassettes. And one CD before that, I believe. But before that, I think this is like the 4th piece of music I ever got. And the one thing I remember from this is that it was also the first CD I had that had a hidden track. So it has 15 songs on it.
But the 15th song is like really long, and then there's 2 songs on it, right?
No. Actually, what they did was, then there's a 16th track. for like 4 seconds, and nothing's on there. 17th track, nothing. 18, nothing. 19,
they did
20,
one of those.
21, 22,
Okay,
23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Then you hit 30, and you get Humiliation. Dun, dun, and it plays the remix version of the Humiliation. Which, if you don't remember, inside the game was a thing where you can humiliate your opponents. It was sort of like Killer Instinct's version of friendship.
Oh yeah.
From Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat 2 specifically.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the hidden track. And the music itself, it's really cool, kind of like pumped up hard rock and kind of like I want to say house, but it's a little more energetic than house. It's a little more out there, especially because some tracks, like for example, the song that's for Jago's theme, for Jago's stage, has a lot of Oriental instruments and stuff like that. That just kind of it works well with electric stuff.
I vaguely remember it now that it's like the nostalgia is starting to hit me. I vaguely remember it.
And then there's some like for Cinder's stage where it's just straight hard rock. It's real good. Most of the music in here, in some remix form, is in the new game, and it's awesome for it. And I know it's just good because it kicks ass.
Here is the $1 million question, though. Do you know the composer of the soundtrack? Who actually does it?
Oh my god!
Because I'm going to Google it. Try to Google it right before you do it.
I'm not even going to try to Google it. I do know his name, but I can't remember. It's a composer.
Robin Beanland.
Robin Heyman?
Beanland.
Oh, Beanin.
Beanland. I don't know. I've never heard of it.
Actually, that was not the name that I was thinking.
I was thinking I was going to remember or recognize the name when I saw it, but, I don't.
That was not the name that I was actually expecting. I was expecting it to be a composer that actually worked with Rare, because Killer Instinct is a Rare game. The company Rare, not that it's hard to find or anything. There's a composer that works with them for a lot of their games. He did like Banjo-Kazooie and a whole bunch of other stuff, and I was going to say that he had a hand in this too, but I guess not.
Well, it's got more than one composer, because for some reason it's got different years listed here. So there's another co-composer called Graham Norgate.
Well, now I'm going to look it up, because now I'm curious. I want to say
that's what I said. I'm like, you're.
I want to say that his name is Adam or Greg. Greg might be correct.
Adam Greg. Mick Gordon. Does that sound familiar? Mick Gordon? No?
A little bit, yes. Yeah, Mick Gordon is Mick Gordon's the dude who did the recent one. And he's crazy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
he's crazy. He's crazy as hell, and he's awesome at it, but he's also crazy. But no, I guess he didn't do the soundtrack for this game. The guy,
it's Kirkhope. Robin Beanland.
Grant Kirkhope. He's the dude who did the soundtracks for a lot of Rare games, and he's one of the greats in video game soundtrack. But I guess he didn't do Killer Instinct.
This one, yeah, he didn't do this one though.
Yeah, well, it's because dude did like all the Rare games. Look, I was partly correct. He did guitar and trumpet for Killer Instinct 2.
Yeah, 2 maybe.
Yeah, but that's
not Killer Cuts, buddy.
No, it's not. But he did GoldenEye. He did Banjo-Kazooie. He did Donkey Kong 64, Perfect Dark, Banjo Tooie, Star Fox Adventures.
Oh, you didn't even have to go any further after you said GoldenEye. I mean, hey, he's already won my heart.
Viva Pinata. After he left Rare, he did Kingdoms of Amalur, which is an awesome RPG that people should play.
I love that game.
Let's see, he did some of these games I've heard of, but they're not like particularly impressive. He did Yooka-Laylee, which is made by old Rare people, so that makes sense.
Rare people.
Well, it's people who used to work at Rare, and then they went, this is going nowhere because, Microsoft doesn't want us to make those kind of games anymore. So
hey, I'm not judging.
So they went off and did their own company, and then they made Yooka-Laylee, which I'm about to finish right now on stream. Check it out at twitch.tv/HeyColorWin. That's the real easy plug.
What? Am I hearing anything?
But, I mean, yeah. But the point is Grand Kirkhope is awesome. He had nothing to do with Killer Cuts, but that's okay because both are awesome.
Granted, anytime I hear Killer Cuts, I'm just thinking of the shady subway that's down the street from me where it has just one light that's just blinking on and off, just like, I kind of want to, you want a killer cut. Yeah.
All we have is bologna.
It's like, what kind of place is this? Is it like an evil barber shop? It's like, no, we're a butcher. You want to cut a salami?
Okay, my turn. My turn.
Your turn.
Go, BJ.
Okay. My second one is a more recent kind of game. I think maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I'm probably getting this completely wrong. But it's Bastion.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah, that's a great one.
By Darren Korb. I absolutely adore this soundtrack. I think I actually listened to the soundtrack first because I was just going through like certain sites listening, looking for soundtracks that other people liked. And this was a regular one that came up, and I think it won an award at some show or something like that. So after I listened to the soundtrack, I was like, dude, this soundtrack is awesome. Let me play the game. So I went and got the game after listening to the soundtrack. And it's one of the first ones that I kind of found the game out after listening to the soundtrack. And it's just one of those where, and he's actually one of those composers now where I look for games that he does. Specifically so I can listen to the soundtracks. Even if I don't have the game, I just look for his soundtracks. And
so he's like Grand Kirkhope.
There you go, without the killer cuts.
I will say, I think it's Super Giant or Super Massive. Either one of those two.
Yeah.
What?
Super Giant. It's Super Giant.
Okay, Super Giant. Because I've never played Bastion. I have heard the soundtrack and absolutely love it. I did play their sequel, Transistor. It has a completely different style, but still amazing, awesome soundtrack.
That he also did, yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, I completely understand where you're going at there. It is a massively great soundtrack, and I absolutely love it.
Absolutely beautiful. There's, I have played most of it. I've never finished it for some reason, but I did play through a lot of Bastion, and there is one sequence towards the middle where you're like finishing up this particularly like long-winded area, and as you're finishing it, you're coming up to this next character, and a piece of music starts playing. It stopped me in my tracks. It's like I'm walking, then this thing starts playing. I'm like, what is that? It is this piece of music. I want to say it's a guitar. It might be a lute, but it is so beautiful. It is so haunting and so serene at the same time. It's just.
I almost know the song you're talking about. Because yeah, he's got some really good tracks on there. It's really good.
Yep.
So yes, Bastion, everybody. Darren Korb, I think, is his name.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. I'm gonna say that before we continue on, I think maybe we should take a little bit of a break.
No.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please stick around for a little bit. We'll be back in about 3 minutes, 5 minutes, something like that. And we'll be continuing on our soundtrack discussion with Indignant Brown and Troll Richards. And me, nicknamed Cuevas. I don't know. All right, we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to the Shaded Pixels podcast. We are still talking about video game soundtracks and which ones that are good, our favorites specifically. And now Sean's going to give us another one, despite Indignant Brown's objections.
Yeah, I'm ready for this one.
Okay, guys. So, as was pointed out, because I basically have all the greatest hits all together, it's going to be really hard to pick one that's not part of it. So there is a modern game that's come out that the soundtrack has kind of transcended me playing the game. I was never a part of this franchise, and given my attempts to try to get into this said franchise, I can't get into it. I don't know why. It's just gameplay doesn't suit me. But anytime I hear the music, I just think it's so beautifully done, beautifully composed, and I just have to give it props. I'm going with Sonic Mania.
It's really good.
It is so good. Really good. Like all I have to do, like I'm serious.
I already know the composer. Shout outs to T Lopes.
You need to clean off your keyboard. So you had a little moment.
T Lopes, man, it is so great. I will just like sit down. I'm like, you know what? I'm having a rough day, man. I can't handle it. I'll just put on that opening theme for the opening cinematic, and oh my god, it's just so great. So
it's so
yeah.
It's it's a kind of soundtrack where I feel like it has so much personality. It's not just that it's good; it's that it seems to tell its own kind of like it describes itself. Every song seems to have like certain hooks, certain beats, certain melody patterns that just tells you what it's about on its own.
Yeah.
It's so good.
So good.
Yeah.
It is legitimately a game where I will probably never buy the game, but I will buy that soundtrack.
You should also buy the game.
I can't get into Sonic, man. I'm sorry. I know that you're a Sonic fan by that gigantic thing in the background, but I just can't.
No, really? That's what that is?
It's just a blanket. I wanted something in the background for when I stream and stuff, and it's the biggest thing I have.
Yeah, it does it.
It's not even a full-size blanket.
It's just big enough to cover that area.
Yeah. I mean...
So, I mean, you do what you want, obviously. I still recommend the game, but yes, the soundtrack is fantastic. It's... While I have memories still with other songs from Sonic games previously, as a whole and on a technical level, it's probably the greatest soundtrack in the Sonic franchise.
Yeah.
And that's saying something because Sonic 3 was partially written by Michael Jackson. Which is confirmed at this point. It was a rumor for a long time, but now it's confirmed.
Yeah. And if you were to get the Sonic Mania game itself, please go get Sonic Mania Plus, because it has 2 additional characters, but that nobody but the extreme fan base gives a shit about.
I know about them. Mighty is fun. Ray.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm seeing that Mighty is broken. Ray is basically a worse Tails.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't say Mighty is broken. I think he's just another way of playing, especially because he
just misunderstood.
He doesn't have a flying type ability the way that 3 other characters do, and then Sonic doesn't have to worry about that because like the levels are technically built with him in mind the most.
Yeah, but like any spikes that you go in there, if you're in a ball, then you're like immune to spikes, and that's
for the first hit.
Legitimately half of Sonic's.
For the first hit,
that's half of his hazards.
For the first hit, I've been noticing that people seem to keep leaving that part out. If you land on a spike, you get invulnerability for the first hit. If you're still on that thing that's hurting you that's made of spikes, by the time your invincibility frames come off, it hurts you.
Yeah, but at that point, you still have... If you die after 3 hits on spikes, because you have 2 attempts to save yourself with Mighty. You have his initial hit, and then you have the rings. Mm-hmm. And then you can always grab a ring from the air in order to save yourself from another hit. At that point, if you're in a bed of spikes and you can't do that, all out me, because I'm terrible at Sonic games, then you kind of deserve to die.
Yes and no. There's definitely an argument for that. They could even be increased to 4 hits because in case you happen to have a shield. However, I will say the other thing you have to worry about is that when you land on something like spikes and everything, there's knockback, and if you get knocked back into, say, a bottomless pit, then it doesn't matter. There's things about it. It's not a completely broken thing. That's all I'm saying. And then also his special ability to drop down quickly, while useful in some cases, is not useful in case you want to get high, which is why I feel he has the problems that Sonic usually doesn't have to deal with.
Yeah. Okay.
I like the theme to the first level, Sonic.
Green Hill. Yeah.
All right.
That's my fave.
Esteban, what's your next pick, brother?
Real quick, just one last thing I just want to point out. Another track
Sonic
that you might
blue.
like. He is, but another track you might like is level 4 from Sonic 3, Casino Night, because that song is basically just Jam by Michael Jackson. It's literally the same thing. It's basically the same thing. And the credits sequence is just Strangers in Moscow, if you know what that song is.
Oh yeah, I love that song. That's a great song.
Yeah, again, Michael Jackson. Anyway, my next pick is another fighting game, because fighting game music.
Michael Jackson's Moonwalker.
Sorry. I mean, that soundtrack is just his music, so yes, it's good.
Yeah.
Especially if you get the
putting GTA on a, and I'm not even that bad.
Let's put it. Hey, you want to freaking cheat? How about Grand Theft Auto Vice City, where it's just nothing but 80s music and awesome stuff?
That's awesome,
right? But no, I'm gonna go with.
Don't you do it, Shawn?
No, I said I'm not even.
Don't you do it?
No, I'm gonna go with. I don't even know if you even heard of this game. Maybe you have. I don't think it's that like hidden.
Try me.
Street Fighter EX plus Alpha.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
It's the first,
I don't remember which one it is, but yeah, I've heard.
It's the first Street Fighter game in 3D.
Okay, I definitely remember what it is. I used to love that one.
There you go.
I used to play that one a lot. Yes,
they're all polygonal and they have all
it looks really weird, but it played really cool. I liked it.
Yeah, it was fun. It technically is not 3D. I mean, like the graphics are, but it played in 2D.
Yeah, it was still 2D. Yeah.
Yeah, but the soundtrack to that is so hype. Everything in that game is just like these keyboards going crazy, the guitars going crazy, freaking. Every song in that game could be played on the last stage at Evo. Every single one. It is so crazy. It is so good.
And Evo just happened, so
yeah,
I think you're riding off of a fighting game high.
Yeah. Oh, so you're saying he's cheating? That's how you try to say.
To be fair, I actually was already coming up with this list before Evo's happened.
Sure.
But I mean, like, let me see if I can bring up a little something, because you're the one that gave me the idea of playing some of this stuff, BJ.
I mean, it's only right. We're sitting here talking about music. We might as well have a clip.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to find it. Because here's the one thing. I do know that, unfortunately, this is one of the soundtracks I do not think is actually on Spotify.
Gasp.
And it's so freaking weird. But yeah, I couldn't find it. But look, it's fantastic. Wait a minute. Oh my god, I just remembered I have one of the songs as one of my ringtones.
Who is the composer?
There's multiple composers. There's different composers for each track.
Oh, I hate that.
Hey, they all did something amazing, so I don't mind. Straight up, I don't care. They did it amazing. Oh god damn it, it's not here either. God, I'm gonna stop trying. But yeah, every single song in there is just, it's really. Do you remember like in the mid 90s when video game soundtracks were like really produced well, because the audio was like super crisp and very light, because they were just like so happy that now they can use CD audio?
Yeah. It was. Yeah, during that time, it was like kind of a transition from like the beeps and boops to more, hey, let's actually try to put some music out here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, this reeks of that. It's lousy with it. It's fantastic.
They put like every single instrument they could in every track.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, kind of. There's like Oriental theme songs, and there's some with hard rock, and then there's purely electronic songs, and there's jazzy songs, and yeah, it's kind of all over the place. Yep. But yeah, it's fantastic. It's great. One of the songs is the theme music for Maximilian Dude Streams, who is the biggest fighting game streamer on Twitch. Actually, officially, he recently announced that his channel is going to be in the Guinness World Records because of that.
Nice.
But yeah, it's fantastic. Everyone check it out. Street Fighter EX plus Alpha. It's got a great soundtrack.
Awesome.
Okay, I believe BJ, you're next. You got another one?
Word. Of course, I got another one. Okay, this one is another recent one that completely blew my mind. It was another one of those that I found the soundtrack because it had like won some award or something like that before I found the game. And then I asked for the game for a review specifically because of that. And it is called Child of Light.
Ooh. Nice.
It is an absolutely beautiful game. Just visually, it's a gorgeous game because it's got like watercolor graphics and stuff like that, right? So visually, this game is like one of those kind of platformer role-playing games that you can. It's just gorgeous to watch.
Yeah,
you know. And then, like when the music actually hits you, I had to find who is the composer. I forgot her name. She's some Canadian pianist or something like that, I think. And her name is absolutely ridiculously hard to pronounce. I'm going to murder it, but it's like Coeur de Pirate, or I do not know how to pronounce it, but it's probably French. But it's
probably.
It is absolutely a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous soundtrack, and it really, really highlights her piano work. But it's not all piano, so she weaves in a lot of other, not a lot, but she weaves in a decent amount of other, I guess you could say, orchestral type tracks. But you know how a lot of times when you think classical or orchestral or whatever, you get a certain type of music in your head. Well, for some reason, this doesn't quite go that way. It's almost as if the tracks were written in an almost kind of I don't want to say poppy, but in a kind of a melancholy kind of like a melancholy pop song, if that's even a thing.
Yeah, sure.
You know, and it's kind of built around the piano, but then it's backed up by, you know, an orchestra at times, and it's just absolutely beautiful. It you know, it comes to life at just the right moments and everything. And then like a lot of the battle sequences, you can instantly tell that the music that she chose for those instances were influenced by what's his name, Nobuo Uematsu, the Final Fantasy composer. So you can hear elements of his kind of music in some of that music, but when it gets into just the regular platforming portion of it, where you're going through all the watercolors, it's like her music just completely goes along with that beautiful artwork and everything. It's absolutely gorgeous. Definitely recommended for anybody who hasn't tried out the game or the soundtrack for that matter.
Yeah.
I know of the game. I haven't played it, but I remember hearing about it, and I remember trying, I think, the demo, and I remember the game being fun. I don't remember the soundtrack though, so maybe I need to give it another listen.
Yeah, it's you know, it's, for me, it's not all of it isn't necessarily memorable, but there's certain levels and there's certain parts of it that just kind of like you were talking about with your game. It just all of a sudden hits you. You know, there's just certain tracks that just all of a sudden hit you. It's very, very, very beautiful soundtrack.
Yeah.
All right, Shawn, how about you? Do you have a third?
I do have a third, and I'm actually going to go into your well, Esteban. Ooh. And I'm going to pick a fighting game this time.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. Fighting games are really good because you have a lot of individual themes, and this one is one that I just remember back in college. It's one of the few games that I've bought multiple copies of and, you know, listened to the soundtrack over and over because I absolutely love some of the themes there. I don't know if it was at EVO this time. I think they took it away from EVO. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Oh, yeah, they took it out. Last year was its last year.
Okay, yeah. And then Infinite did not get in. Actually, I do not like Infinite soundtrack. I like the Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I like that soundtrack a lot better because Infinite, I just don't think rings that bell for me, but man, you get the third installment. It is music. It is lovely. Especially how a lot of the themes, if you just hear the theme for a lot of the characters, you're just like, oh yeah, that's Captain America. Hear that? Yeah. Oh yeah, that sounds like something for Iron Man. Or yeah, that's Spider-Man, of course. And then of course from the Capcom characters, they're gonna bring over some of their themes. Or maybe not. I like Chris Redfield's theme in that game is really great. And of course they bring over like some of the good ones like Dante's and things like that. But But man, I absolutely love that soundtrack, and I have to give it props here.
I can't remember the soundtrack to the game. Look, I'll be honest. I'm actually not a huge fan of Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. As someone who played all of the previous games, I legitimately cannot understand the mechanics in that game. And after years of trying, I'm convinced that it's just because it's a bad game.
Well, the game doesn't necessarily have to. Let me just like say this: just because the soundtrack's good doesn't mean the game has to be good.
Yeah. And I was gonna get to that.
Yeah.
Well, and again with this, the mechanics, or the other answer could be that the game is legitimately just pop them up and then do off the ground combos until you die. Which, if it is, then that's extremely simple, and that's why I don't like it. But going for the soundtrack, that doesn't mean that the soundtrack can't then be good, but my problem is that, quite frankly, it kind of comes across as noise to me, because while the songs to me are like really exciting and everything, they don't feel distinct like maybe some other ones do. There's not really catchy enough melodies to really grab me, and that's why I kind of don't remember it. I wouldn't say it's bad, just background, but that's just me. Especially with music, it's very subjective.
Yeah, of course. BJ, your thoughts?
Yeah.
Oh, what, my next one?
No. Your thoughts on?
On that selection.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, I haven't played enough of it to remember the music, so.
Okay.
I've played it a little bit, but not enough to remember the music.
Yeah. That's fine. That's my experience with Child of Light. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got a third one. It's gonna be another fighting game. No, I'm kidding. It's actually the very first soundtrack that I actually purposely went out and bought.
Good choice.
It is Chrono Cross.
Yeah,
I knew the moment you were just like.
That was on my honorable mention list.
I mean, that's the one that was on the PS1, so it could take advantage of the CD quality music instead of the SNES with Chrono Trigger.
Its own
I like Chrono Trigger too. I like both of them. They're really good.
Yeah. I've never finished Chrono Trigger.
Me either. Yeah. Either one of them.
I finished Chrono Cross several times because. This is one of my more like controversial opinions. I find Chrono Cross to be the better game, and more importantly, Chrono Cross is my favorite RPG of all time.
Interesting. I can't really say either way. I've played both of them, but I've only recently started playing Chrono Cross.
That's the PS1 one.
Yeah, I only recently started Chrono Cross because I can get it on my PS Vita, and it's one of the few games that I wanted to play on my Vita because most of the games for the Vita suck.
Sorry.
I mean, I never had a Vita. I want one. I know it'll be just an old purchase at this point, but do you want to give it to me?
Take it.
No. I was about to say, we had a viewer, Adam Pugh, said someone had to say Final Fantasy VII, right?
Oh, I look.
You know what, Adam? I'm gonna put this out there. I have a Final Fantasy on my list, but it's not 7.
I love Cosmo Canyon.
I love Nobuo Uematsu, but 7. I like 7, but it's not my favorite of the series.
I like Cosmo Canyon's theme. I think that's a fantastic track. That's my answer to that.
It's one of those, in my opinion, that you have a good track or two, but overall, as a soundtrack, I don't like it as much. Like the victory theme, I absolutely love in Final Fantasy VII.
To be fair,
that's like the same victory theme through the whole series.
Yeah. I mean, it's different remixes, and 7's version of it is very good.
Yeah.
But this is another example of Troy Richards. I'm just messing with you. But back to Chrono Cross. I played through that game several times. It actually took me like over 2 years to beat that game because I put it down at one point. Actually, I put it down because I had to go back to school and I got busy. And then I brought it back up, kept playing that same save file because I somehow still remembered everything that was going on in that game. I must have really liked it. And went through the game, not only that time, but then another time with different characters because that's one of the things about that game. And could not get over the freaking soundtrack. At one point, once I would go into the alternative world that's in the game, that's just called Another World, I would just leave it on the overhead map because the song that would play during there was so beautiful. I just wanted to hear it. And then finally I broke down and went, I gotta get this. Can I buy this somewhere? And there it was on Amazon.
Well, yeah, once Amazon came out, you can pretty much get anything. But imagine trying to get a Final Fantasy soundtrack before Amazon existed.
I know. Yeah. But I mean, I bought it and it came in the mail and I looked at the packaging and it was jank as shit, but I don't care because it worked.
Classic Amazon.
I mean, here's the thing: it's the actual like packaging for it. This is what it came in. It was just a cheap job. Like you can tell, like the designs on this disc and everything were like printed really cheaply, and like the paper was really thin on the manual and everything. But I mean, it works, and it was fantastic. So,
oh yeah.
As long as the music's on there, that's all that matters.
Beautiful soundtrack. Highly recommend people not only get the soundtrack but play the game. And I don't care what anyone says. That game is amazing.
Oh yeah.
So let's see. Do we want to keep going?
I think we can probably like go through like our honorable mentions at this point. Kind of like list off a few that we kind of like.
Okay. All right, BJ, give us a rundown of your other picks.
Okay, so kind of like Adam was saying, there has to be, for myself personally, there has to be at least one Final Fantasy on my list. For me, it was, and I always get the numbers wrong because once you get under 7, it's like you see they're Japanese and US and the numbers flip all over the place, right?
Yeah, that's confusing. I can help you out though. So
I want to say it's 6, whichever one had Edgar, the guy in the little flying, you know, it was still 8-bit when it was out.
8-bit
when it came in. Yeah, it was still
not remotely close. If it's 8-bit, then it's either 1 through 3.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The numbers 1 through 3 are the American releases.
No.
The Japanese releases are different numbers.
Let me ask you something. What platform was it on originally?
It was on.
I say originally because you know they port all the Final Fantasy games up.
Yeah, that's what's catching me.
Would it have been Final Fantasy 2? America?
I want to say in America
it's Final Fantasy 4 in Japan.
Okay, so
I think 3 in America is the one.
3 in America is 6 in Japan.
Okay, then I was right. So Final Fantasy 6 in Japan, because that's where I bought the soundtrack from. Okay. You know, it's the Japan. You know, it's the import. You know, the import version of. So it's Final Fantasy 6 is my very first pick of Final Fantasy that I was like, I have to have this soundtrack. That one, and real quick, Icewind Dale. The soundtrack for Icewind Dale was done by the composer for the whole Elder Scrolls series, Jeremy Soule.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I absolutely love him, and the Icewind Dale soundtrack was one of the first ones of his that I really took notice of, because I played the Elder Scrolls stuff, and a lot of it was mostly atmospheric. before we kind of hit the personality of Skyrim personally. And then, of course, any Star Wars game, because I love John Williams, and anything that has John Williams music in it, I'm down.
I feel like that's cheating too, because it's the only movie.
Hey, watch it, buddy. All right, I don't cheat.
The roles have been reversed. The roles have been reversed.
And I almost say anything that Jesper Kid has done, but in particular, the Hitman series. I shit you not, I have never played a Hitman game in my life more than like one stage, because I just couldn't stand the controls and just couldn't stand the way that you play a lot of the older ones anyways. But the soundtracks, I swear I have just about every single one of them. So I love the Hitman series and Jesper Kid's take on all of those, all of those different stages and anything. And of course, can't leave out Halo. I'm just a big Halo fan.
Yeah,
so
I was gonna.
I'm all over Halo.
Yeah.
And one bonus one, Shovel Knight.
Ooh,
I loved Shovel Knight.
Yes.
That's an awesome soundtrack.
That's good.
Absolutely awesome. Okay, I'm done.
Okay. Indignant Richards, you're next.
Okay. Just a couple of quick ones that I had. Crash Bandicoot, especially the Insane Trilogy remixes, those are really good. And pick any one from the trilogy, they have some pretty good music going along with that. I also had Halo and Shovel Knight on my list, but
it's very good.
Beat Day, of course, took my suggestions and took them to heart. Dragon Ball Fighter Z has some really good music in it as well.
I still need to pick that game up. I want it so much.
Oh, it's really good.
I know I got the beta and it was so much fun. I
they had some really
money.
good sales. You're gonna have to catch it. Yeah, they've had some good sales recently.
Yeah.
And if you
actually, they just had it on sale this week, didn't they?
Yeah, I know. I'm freaking broke right now. It sucks.
Yeah.
And if we're
somebody send him some money.
Yeah. If we're looking at one more that I have to put in there, Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon.
Ooh. That was like the 80s spin on like everything, right? Was that the one?
Futuristic 80s, technically.
Yeah, the futuristic 80s. Yeah. Dude, that was awesome. That was
starring
good.
Rex Power Colt.
Heck yeah.
That's all you need to know. If it's
exactly.
Ooh.
That name. It's so 80s.
I have the game. I have yet to play it.
Dude. Once you finish your Let's Play of the other ones, you gotta play that one. Yeah. It's dope.
Yeah, I should. Okay. Anything else?
No. Okay. That's all that I had. All the rest were covered by my Smash Brothers end all be all of soundtracks. What about you, Esteban?
Well, first I'm gonna right a wrong that I should have done, but I mean the other ones just inched them out by a little bit. But gotta rep Sonic over here, so I'm gonna say there's actually several soundtracks that I would put on. You already talked about one of them, Sonic Mania. Fantastic, absolutely. Sonic 3 and Knuckles is my personal favorite. It's probably because of nostalgia. That's why I said probably technically speaking Sonic Mania is probably the better one, but I have nostalgia for it. I know those songs. I love them. I just love that soundtrack so much. I'm also going to throw out one that might be a little controversial, but I don't care because I also love this game. Sonic Adventure 1. I love the soundtrack to that game. I don't care because it has a mix of everything. It's got rock, it's got hip hop, it's got a little bit like a country song for Big. Even the corny as hell pop music for Amy, her theme.
To be fair, like Sonic Adventure 2 had some pretty corny shit for Knuckles too.
Yeah, but that's kind of cool. It's this hip hop. It's this hip hop kind of like jazz fusion mix. It's so cool. It's like let's take a whole bunch of like genres that are associated with black people and just mix them all into one because that's what Knuckles is. He's our black analogy. So it's got jazz, it's got hip hop, it's got soul, it's got funk. It's cool.
It's just all smashed together.
Yeah. And then of course the main theme song, "Open Your Heart," is just so intense and hype. Again, and you may have noticed I have a theme for hype songs in video games.
We see. We see. Yes.
Okay. Got a question for you, Esteban.
Okay, what's up?
That song or City Escape?
Open Your Heart.
Okay.
Yeah. The other one is the theme song for Sonic Adventure 2, which is also big.
Live and Learn.
Which is Live and Learn. And I like Open Your Heart better than both of those.
Okay. I'm not a big fan of Live and Learn, but
yeah, I like it. I don't see why it's so big when I'm like, it's just a rewrite of Open Your Heart, which is better. But I mean, it's not bad. At least I don't think so. But yeah, okay, those are like 3 Sonic games right there. I also want to shout out Mega Man X.
Oh, I was about to say any Mega Man, basically. Yeah. I was about to put
specifically. I want to say Mega Man X, and I'm also going to say Mega Man X2. Mega Man X2 gets forgotten a lot. That game and its soundtrack is freaking awesome. It's really close to Mega Man X1, in my opinion.
Oh
yeah, Mega Man has a great soundtrack. Yeah. I love all.
Yeah,
I can listen to almost any of them.
Which is better, Mega Man 2 or Mega Man 3 in terms of soundtracks?
I can't tell. They're both great. I
know, right? Mm-hmm. It's one of those things where it's just like people want to say Mega Man 2 because it's more iconic, but Mega Man 3 is also really good and really up there.
Yeah.
So mind you, I've never played through like 2 levels of any Mega Man game, but I know like most of the music.
I mean, the games are hard, so
yeah, the games are mad hard, but I love the music. Awesome.
But yeah, Mega Man X, it's got a fantastic soundtrack. Mega Man X2, I guess it's not quite as iconic as the first one, but it's still really great. I remember I did a Let's Play of Mega Man X2 not too long ago, and while I was going through that game, I was like, this is so good. Why don't people talk about this more? Usually, when it comes to the X series, you either talk about Mega Man X1 or Mega Man X4.
Yeah, because that's where they do fully playable Zero.
Yeah.
Wait, you
mean you gotta talk about X2, man?
You mean they don't talk about Mega Man X7, where they went 3D?
They do, but for different reasons.
Oh, come on. Introduces a brand new character, Axel.
Anyway,
stop. I'm gonna stop. Just gonna stop.
To be fair though, that series started to go downhill in X5, in my opinion. So,
I think it's a common opinion.
Yeah. Well, there's some people who like X5, but even if you do, you know, like that's still one of the lesser ones. But anyway, there's that, and my third pick,
Streets of Rage.
You know what? Yeah.
That's an awesome soundtrack. Those are some old school joints.
Yeah, just that whole franchise is so freaking cool. That wasn't what I was going to say. I blanked on my answer for a moment. But that works too. Streets of Rage's soundtrack is amazing.
Yeah, it's dope. I love Streets of Rage.
Yeah.
Yeah. All of them. All the Streets of Rages.
Yeah. 2 is probably the best. 3 should have been the best because it has the best mechanics. But
you would have thought, but for some reason it wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the first one is the worst one, but that's just because it was the first one. You know,
it's still good though.
Yeah, it's still good.
I still like it. Yeah,
it's still good.
It's like the first Street Fighter. Nobody really cares about it.
Right. Yeah.
That's a little different. Street Fighter 1 is just bad.
It is. It's janky.
It's just bad.
It's really janky. Ugh.
Yeah.
What I was gonna say is another fighting game. It's got to be a classic. Street Fighter 2.
It's hard.
Guile's theme goes with everything.
Yeah, it does. It's almost like it's like I kind of have to put Super Mario like right next to Street Fighter because like the soundtracks for both of those are just so iconic that it just has to be there for like any list or whatever.
Oh yeah.
All right, so those are all my picks.
I got one more. I got one more.
Okay, hurry up.
BioShock Infinite.
Really good.
Yeah. Oh my god.
That whole soundtrack and like the songs on there blew my mind just for the mere fact that they reimagined so many pop songs in that daggone game. And the thing that pissed me off was that the freaking soundtrack didn't have the songs on it. It had like the You know, it had like the ambient
music.
Yeah, it had all the ambient music. It didn't have all the reimagined tracks on it. That's what pissed me off.
What I was telling you before with Bastion, same thing happened in that game when I come out of the warp hole and then I start hearing the girl doing the slave hymn version of Fortunate Son. Oh my god, I was like, this is so amazing. Oh my god. Yeah, okay, but yeah, okay, we gotta stop there. That's our episode. BJ, plug some stuff real quick.
I do everything on Twitch and YouTube. Find me on Bunny2000. Yay!
Yay. Shawn, you next.
All right. Twitter, Little Big Ham. YouTube, Shonton Studios. We'll be putting stuff up shortly. Esteban, go.
I have Let's Play going up on my channel, youtube.com/colorwin. Alice Madness returns and Twitch streams of ukulele. Follow me on Twitter at HeyColorwin and HeyColorwin everywhere else as well. And you can follow us at Shaded Pixels, bit.ly/shadedpixels. Quite frankly, it's just right there. You can see it.
Yep. And quick announcement for those of you that would like to watch us live on YouTube.
All right.
We are going live exclusively on Twitch starting next episode, especially for those on Facebook as well. You will always catch the videos on demand going up on Thursdays.
Yes.
But you can always follow us at Shade Pixels Podcast to figure out where they're going to be.
Yeah. VODs on YouTube, actual stream on Twitch exclusively now. Okay. All right, good. That's everything. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. BJ is creepy as hell. Shawn is okay, and I am just getting through this as quick as I can. So, bye.